Hello, welcome to the Spinner Racker comic review show here on the Master Powercast channel. This was all my decision. Tyler picked the issue, but I hit him up and I'm like, let's talk Conan, man. We haven't covered an issue of this in a little while, and I thought it was time to dive back in. I've been in the sword and sorcery mood, so yeah. You look at it, Conan very parallel to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. So you chose issue 39, and I'll show off the covers so everyone can see here. We'll dive in and get to the details. But out of all the ones, why this one in particular?
Yeah, it's funny. When I read it the first time, I didn't like it.
Really?
Because I was underwhelmed by the climax of the creature and the main villain of it too. I and you got to remember too, the main Marvel book is violent, but not as violent as the Savage Sword of Conan is. So some stuff some of the implied violence is better than some of the actual shown in this particular issue. And I just felt underwhelmed because I've one of the biggest draws of certain issues, like what kind of creatures Conan got to fight. And he's fought alligators a few times in the Conan books. And they're always like epic battles. They're not as big as the one he battles in this one, but they're fucking huge and they're nasty. And I'm always a sucker for a big hero taking on an animal that wants to eat you, because I can't think of anything more terrifying than being eaten alive by a shark, an alligator, a croc, Komodo dragon.
It would be very painful.
Very painful, and you're alive when you're going through it. So when I see Conan or He-Man battling something that wants to eat you, I'm just like, oh my God, that's about as alpha male as you possibly could get as a hero, and you're saving a beautiful girl at the same time. So that's just, the cover alone, when I read this, was like, I don't know how many years ago when I read it for the first time. This was several years back. And just decided to go back and read it again a while back, way before we had this conversation. I was like, you know what? That was a lot better than I enjoyed it. And then when you brought this up, like, oh boy, what could I do? And I there's so many, like I said, there's so many issues that are all connected to like one big storyline. And then trying to find a self-contained issue that doesn't require like reading 4 or 5 stories beforehand to get to this one issue. And this is a very good self-contained issue. I've warmed up to it a lot more. There's certain visuals in this particular issue, like, oh man, that's just captivating. Like, just beautiful John Buscema artwork, as we will celebrate the shit out of. But just certain images, I'm like, I want to see He-Man doing that too. So this particular issue has even kind of got my mind for another commission with Kevin.
All right, Kevin.
Yeah, which I've already reached out to him. You know what? This current mini comic cover, would you like to do another one? Yes, sir.
And Kevin's just like, my fingers hurt. And then you say, oh, now your back's going to hurt because you just pulled landscaping duty. Well, let's go ahead. Actually, before I show off the cover and we start going into this, that is something we should do in the future, though, is cover one of a handful of those books that is sort of just one little arc. That's something we should do down the road.
Yeah, because some of them, I mean, there's some 2-parters. There's like, 5, 6, 7, 8-parters where it's like, it's a story, but it's connected to something else, and it's not like not like a Civil War storyline, but it's, this happens, but it's connected because Conan is on this journey to do this. So he comes across this and comes across this she-bitch, or, this group of vandals, or, these monsters, or this giant. And
we'll have to do that one day. Let's do that one day. Well, obviously, to be a lengthy, we'll have to try to like go a little bit quicker.
Like that one episode James was with us. We went through the whole arc of Rick Jones. Just bitching about stuff is pretty much what it boiled down to.
Yeah. But let's go ahead. Let's dive on into this thing. As Tyler mentioned, you see here on the cover, a beautiful lady in peril, Conan there, fighting the dragon from the inland sea. So
with a battle axe and all, man. Like, what more do you need from a Conan cover there?
Yep. Issue 39, as stated, came out in the month of June. Now more than ever, the greatest sword and sorcery comic of all time.
Fuck yeah. There's a few others out there. There's some that I think that are worth doing covering maybe in the distant future, something like that too. Like Roy Thomas even came up with a character called, I think it was Azrak, who's a Native American version of Conan, essentially for DC Comics. But DC does not have it uploaded. That just tells you how obscure that book is. Like,
Man. Did they ever
dirt cheap?
Did they ever go through and have like trade paperbacks or anything that released for it?
Don't think so, but they brought him into the Warlord toy line, the Warlord DC Comics series, which is a very very Conan-esque. When they made a toy line of it, which is looked like basically a He-Man knockoff, they brought that character into the toy line. So for the longest time, I thought that character was part of the Warlord DC storyline, and he was not. He was just brought in as a character in the toy line. But he's a great looking character. I mean, it's like I said, if you like Conan, and they're dirt cheap to buy. They're on the same website we got this from as well too. Okay. So it's worth checking out.
Might have to look at the toy line as well.
Yeah,
might Google search that a little bit.
They're He-Man. They're squatted figures with 5 points of articulation. They're very very He-Man-esque.
Yeah. All right. Well, Tyler, go ahead and let us know who all we got working on this.
We got the tag team titans of Roy Thomas and John Buscema, the writer and artist of this, with Glennis Ween, I'm assuming is connection to Lynn Ween, and John Costanza as letterer, and obviously based on the character created by Robert E. Howard.
Yeah. So the dragon from Inland Sea. We start off here. Hey, and I should have said this. Hey, let's dive on in and butcher some names and some.
As much as as many Conan stories that I've read, there are so many names and places. I'm glad Roy could do it. I don't come across enough, quality Conan content where their purpose is to educate the names and the places of the things that are used in the world of Conan.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm not even going to bother. Even when I read it to myself and go back and look at it multiple times, like, I
was doing that when I was when I was reading this earlier today, but I will make the attempt here.
Okay.
For entertainment's sake, a region northwest of Agrapur, capital of Tehran.
You know what? That looks appropriate to me, man. That sounds very appropriate, dude.
I'm trying. A desolate landscape where rocks jab upward like obscene gestures toward the uncaring sun. So beautifully written, too. The way that things are described, it just really it paints the picture just beyond what you're seeing with your eyes. So Conan here on his horse, he comes across this band of thieves, and they say, "Halt, stranger, stand and deliver your money or your life, maybe both, unless you're quick about it." Conan, of course, he's going to say here on the next page that he's got nothing on him. It's basically just him and his horse. But here we go. Destination Zamora and its city of thieves, to the west, if he's lucky. So we see here June 74. So, boy, this was, could you imagine?
That is exactly about a year before Jaws came out.
Man, just mid-70s, you're a kid just buying Conan comics. And
that's something too, man. I tell you, an entire generation, my dad and my uncles and their friends too, were all big Conan fanatics. They were buying the Conan comics, the books, posters, like the imagery. It just fascinated an entire generation of young men, whether you were a kid or a teenager, or even a fully grown adult. Like, this is not Spider-Man. It's not the X-Men. It's not the Fantastic Four. It's fantasy, and you're seeing it done so fucking beautifully, man. Like it's amazing that this comic started in the 70s and ran all the way to the 90s.
Right.
It didn't stop. And Savage Sword of Conan went same route as well. Like Conan, even though he was not in the zeitgeist of popular culture, he was popular with comic book fans and fantasy fans back when fantasy was a big fucking deal in the 70s and the early 80s, man.
I'm sure
Yeah,
there was a little bit of an uptick when the Arnold films come out. Just
that
having,
definitely brought it a lot more to the forefront. But when I look at this stuff, I mean, this stuff transcends the Arnold films. They
oh
really
yeah,
do. I
yeah,
just, as much as I love it, like the source material, you know, because some of the stuff is original, like adaptations of Robert's stories, and some of them are original stories. And you know, it's something like, oh my god, dude, like there's so much going on in these stories, like beautiful women, uh, you know, bastard villains, and Conan, and various allies he meets along the way, and it's just all these. It's why
it's
fantasy has just kind of gone the way of the dodo
yeah.
in popular culture. Like it's just like Lord of the Rings, and that's about as far as it goes with people today. And it's like, you know, there's so much more out there, people, and it's not
Yeah.
just wizards and dragons, even though this has its fair share of monsters. But it's just like, it's just kind of like, well, that's all we really know. Like, well, that's all you choose to know.
Conan saying here, you've chosen a poor subject for robbery. I've already traded all I've had for food and water, all but my sword and my horse. So he's packing lightly. Of course, they take none too lightly with it. It's like, all right, well, yes, we will take your sword and your horse. After all, we poor men got to help each other out. No, and his look here reminds me. The character name escapes me, but from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh,
Got
was it Eli Wallach's character?
yeah, I believe
Yeah,
so.
it's a very, very like distinct like splash panel
Mm-hmm.
of the leader of these vandals. You know, just with like a missing tooth, their eyes squinting up, and they're drawing like, you know, threatening people, but then Conan just towers over them on the horse. Like these guys are just expecting numbers and have just assumed, like, looking at this guy like he can't be a threat.
Yeah, it's 4-on-1. What chance does he have?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The
But I
bandit.
love the heroics about that. That's what makes Conan such a, you know, next to He-Man, he's the ultimate alpha, man. Like there's no fucking challenge he's not up to. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like,
And just going back to how all of this is written, the bandit chieftain's words are measured, slow, and Conan knows that with those who make a living off of these arid wastelands, such slowness must have a purpose. It's just like God, it just sounds so nice.
yeah.
Just even when it's about to, even when it starts to explain some of the brutality that we're about to get here, it's like that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, and Conan doesn't have a lot of like inner monologues or anything like that in the
Yeah,
in the series, and that's done on purpose. It's just he, you know, you're told kind of an idea of what he may think about. For the most part, he lets the talking or his actions, like he'll either speak or his actions does all the talking.
yep.
You know,
So
you're not
he
getting a lot of inner monologues that you would in like in a regular Marvel comic or DC comic of like the hero having his passing thoughts in this moment.
yeah. So he gives this guy a fucking kick right in the middle of his face, and then the leader of the bandits here says, "Oh, you're a smart one, huh? Well, we'll stake you out under the sun so you can think a while before you die." And because you got to think too, it's like desert terrain esque kind of stuff. So it's not only these guys; it's probably animals out there and
Well,
coyotes and shit.
what he's describing does happen to Conan in one book, where
So there,
he is left for dead and left to be eaten alive by rats. So that does
yeah.
happen at one point. Yeah.
Notice here too that they make a point. It's like the living Colossus and Fing Fang Foom together again for the first time.
I
So
always like reading those, you know,
yeah,
just
I
to
do
see
too.
what other like small, like, you know, advertising they're throwing in, like as you're reading the book, like what else is available. They don't wait for a splash page insert in the book, like
Mm-hmm.
just subliminal messages almost, you
Yeah.
know.
Conan saying here, my blade has but two sides, dog. Still, I wager there'll be enough. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, fuck yeah, it will.
Step forward then and be damned to you. So he's taking the fight to him. Conan gets tripped off the horse. They land in a swirl of dirt and death lust. The flashing dagger is raised, high descends, stops. So it's just describing the action. I'm like, it's so well done.
That, I mean, it's just the impact of Roy's writing and John's art, dude. It's just unmatched. And this particular thief is clearly realizing he's just met his maker.
Yep. Then with a sudden violent wrench, it is over. And I mean, just no blood here, but you see from how the bodies contort.
Yeah.
He's done for. Though one of them hops on the horse and starts to get away, the surviving member of the thieves chooses to flee, which, I mean, shit, I would too. But there's no catching him, no hope at all, unless blind gods intervene, which they do, unfortunately for the horse.
Yes, which I hate that. I hate it. You know.
Yeah, I was in reading this, I was like, oh fuck, okay, all right, we're gonna kill the horse. That's
yeah.
Yeah, better no horse than one whose foreleg is hopelessly broken. Yep.
And so Conan picks up that knife, and that pose of him just like sizing it up and then wham, right in the guy's back, and the guy, I mean, he's dead. He's down.
Yep. And 3 robbers and each food for already circling vultures. Only the horse is worth seeing to. So Conan goes to tend to the horse. But hey, man, it's vampire versus vampire. Tomb of Dracula, number 21. Yeah. But yeah, we get to the next here. The steeds of a King Yildiz cavalry are bred from the finest Zambolian stock and fed on azure grasses from the vast steppes twixt Turan and Amora, all wasted now thanks to an accursed snake hole in the midst of bone-dried wastelands, which keep an eye on the snake hole part of that, because that's going to play a role very shortly. But then all wasted, so it's like, he's got to put the horse down. It's like, shit.
And Conan is like that. Like he you know, it's not like he wants to kill just for the sake of, like, he knows this animal's suffering, just wants to put it out of its misery. And when you're out there, like, you know, you don't want to leave it to die on its own to vultures and the heat. Like, no, just you know, unfortunately it's all you got. And I love that about Conan. He does care about animals. He cares about people who are defenseless and wants to do the right thing no matter what the cost. And it's sad. I hate seeing any animal, you know, meet unfortunate endings, but for Conan, like, he's doing it for the right reasons.
And it sets the stakes early on here, because now he's got to find his way to his destination. He's got nothing.
Yeah.
But for now, bloodless but brutal. And that's what you're getting here in these first few pages.
That's effective, you know, writing and illustrations as well. Like, you're conveying a whole lot in this book, and you rarely do see blood at all. It's very minimal. And of course, when you read Savage Swords, everything's in black and white.
Yeah.
And even then, it's not like, you know, intestines are falling all over the place and shit like that, but you get the point. And you know,
I feel like the Savage Sword stuff's more for like the scantily clad aspects, more so.
I mean, it's you get away with showcasing beautiful women, you know, naked or half naked, or just, you can be a little bit more risque with how you depict the women and some of the violence.
Yeah, but Conan, more inner monologuing / just kind of the writing of it describing what the scenario is. But a little time, though, for sorrow in the Hyborian age, for Conan is still a deserter from the Turanian army. And if there's no horse to carry him, north and west, skirting the heavily garrisoned city of Akif, west of Agripur, at least he'll have his knife. And then this is the snake hole thing.
Yes.
Slightest quivering of the dead brigade's body as a snake arises, and then the snake bites him, like right there on his forearm.
Yeah. And this is I just think of, this is like a Rambo moment for me. Like, and you know, Conan and snakes are so, I mean, ever since I heard of Conan, I've always, you know,
they kind of go hand in hand.
Conan, they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
You know, much like He-Man has fought his fair share of snakes and things like that too. And it's just, you know, it's some of the most beautiful paintings, whether it's Earl Norm or Frank Frazetta or others, like, or Ken Kelly, Joe Jusko, like Conan fighting snakes. It's a mainstay, and it always look, and you never get tired of it. You know?
No, and I think it's one of those things too, where if you're kind of laying out the story, it's like, oh, we're going to start with this. The horse dies. He's got to traverse his way to get to this next point that we're going to have in the story. But first, all right, what do we do in between those spots? Just throw a snake in there.
throw a snake in there, and it works every time. You know, and this is not the first time he's been bit by a snake. You know, it will happen again. You know, in random issues. You know, not to the point where he goes to this link where he's gonna kill the fucker and you know, curse it to hell and then suck the poison out. So
yeah, which I mean you got to do. Then here's the big bummer about it though. First, he has to pour wine over the wound, which sucks because he was hoping that he would much rather use that to quench his thirst later on, but he's got to use it now. So he's gradually running out of stuff.
But he is the ultimate survivalist. Like, he will do what he's got to do and just keep trucking. Like, to see him like dig into the wound so he can open it up and suck the poison, suck the venom out like that. And to know, like, how much time do you need to put into doing that? How do you know if you drained it all out? And how do you know if some of it hasn't gotten further into your
bloodstream?
You know, but you just feel like, you know, he's been taught so much in terms of survival. This guy has fought war after war after war, ballroom, tavern brawls, monsters and wizards and animals. Like, it's just he's the ultimate survivalist. You just feel like, you know what? I don't know how he would have figured it out, but it's fucking Conan. Like, you just don't question that kind of stuff. And like, the guy looks like he always knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and I love this part right here. There would be a silent prayer to Crom if there were any chance the Sumerian god would hear it. So it's I love stuff like that. But Crom cares little for wandering sons who've left his brooding hills. So Conan simply rests a while, then strides off. A little bit uneasily though, and this is when it starts to. I love how they say. Many and varied are the landscapes of Tehran, endless grassy plains to the west, snow-capped mountain peaks to the north, but here there's only the sun. So it's just like, great, now he's just got to sit here in the walk through the sweltering heat with all the other shit that he's gone through already.
Yeah, and no suntan lotion to protect his skin. Like, Conan's always got a great tan. It doesn't mean you're gonna, get burnt the fuck by the sun, you know.
Yeah, but then through dimmed eyes, Conan suddenly sees suntan lotion. Something he
Panama
cannot
Jack on a horse here.
Yeah. So it's like, a mirage, but he passes out. Strange irony will be to him in the afterlife if the last thing he saw was a mirage. So then he comes to, and then this is when we meet Ben Hassal. Yep, and he assures him that, hey man, we're both quite alive, because he's thinking that this can't be real, right? How'd you happen upon me? And it turns out that he was only a few yards from the major caravan route between Agripur and Zamora. There we go. So I chose a good place to pass out. He almost made it.
Yeah.
So we get introduced to Ben's niece, Rachala, who spotted him first.
I like that name for a hot babe, Rachala.
And they're taking his appearance as an omen. So we pitched our tents and simply waited for you to recover. And he's saying, you did all this for a stranger. And then it's just kind of one of those things where you see a lot of this in these books, and you've seen it, of course, in mythology, sometimes in movies referring to that stuff. It's just they're taking all this stuff as symbolic, and we can use this because we need this to be done.
Yeah, they're in a situation, they're hoping their prayers will get answered some way. And when you see someone like Conan, you're like, who wouldn't think, okay, yeah, our prayers have been answered. We have a sword.
I mean, even Ben makes a point to say here, you have a mighty frame and we need of a good sword arm. So it's like, yeah, you're a big son of a bitch. I think you'll be able to help us out. My father is a kind man, barbarian. He would have helped you even if. And then Conan, of course, hey, I didn't mean anything. I'm not trying to insult you. As you doubtless know, we are a few days' journey from the sea, which separates Tehran from the older Hyrcanian kingdoms of the east. There we go.
Yeah, I was going to say Hyrcanian.
And Conan saying, I've been there, but you've never seen the village of Kashan. So they're saying, where the waters are so blue that they color the very heavens overhead, and where I was lord and master until a short eternal year ago. So he was the guy ruling over all this stuff, and then now we're gonna kind of get the backstory of his whole presence.
We're setting the stage for what's coming here.
Yep. So for it is precisely 12 months since strange unearthly music was heard wafting among the streets and alleyways of Kashan. So then it's basically what has happened is moon shadow fell and then death followed it. Priest of the dark god Erlich dwells in Kashan. His name is Ghoul. Azalel. There we go. And his ways are deep and mysterious. And here's the kicker. He told me the only sacrifice I could make, which would appease the hungry sea god. And after a second attack, also in the full of the moon, I had to comply. So this shit's going down. People are dying. He's leading this stuff. He wants to find a way to stop it. Here comes this ghoul Azalel to tell him you got to make sacrifices and this will all go away. So then at this point, when I'm starting to read this, I'm like, the cover tips you off a little bit, but when I got to this point, I'm like, all right, I think this is why Tyler really chose this book here, because he's big on the stories that have to do with sacrifice to like a creature and all the intertwinings that are in there. So in the 3rd month, a fair flower of Kashan maidenhood was chained upon a rock not far out to sea. The moon rose big and blood bloated as ever, and surely the sight of the girl's death agonies would have been even more terrible than her soul-destroying screams if only I had the courage to look. So yeah, that tells you can just hear it right there. That brutal.
It's something that I find terrifying, taking a beautiful girl and we're going to throw you out here chained to this rock, and this creature's going to come and eat you alive because we have to, because this crazy motherfucker says, we got to appease this particular god. Mm-hmm. It's something like to have lived in a time where people believe that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That we have to sacrifice you to something, and you just got to go and deal with it. Knowing you're going to wake up that day and be eaten alive by this creature. It's I tell you, man, I don't envy the days of people who felt like we got to sacrifice beautiful women to appease our gods and things like that. But something like this, it's terrifying, especially like, you ever watch an alligator or crocodile attack? I mean, it's
no, I try my best to stray away from that unless it's in a movie played for the fantasy aspects.
I don't like watching any of that stuff where an alpha predator attacks something.
All the nature documentary, dude. Yeah, well, I guess in that regard, yeah. And when I've seen like BBC's Planet Earth, and you just see they show, oh, here's this creature, and you're like, oh, that's really nice and cute, and then here's its predator, and then half of them get eaten. You just
and I'm like, I don't like seeing that shit. Now if you're gonna watch a lion tangle with a crocodile or a hippo,
right?
Where they're that's what I don't mind seeing. Because you got alpha predator versus alpha predator. But when you have something cute and cuddly and defenseless trying to get a fucking sip of water, it's like, man, that's why I feel like snakes and crocs and alligators and sharks are all assholes.
But Tyler, it's the circle of life.
Fuck Elton John song.
God, but hey, also Death Waits for Doctor Strange within the awesome eye of Agamotto.
Yeah, you pick it up today.
Yeah, buy it right now. So yeah, you get a better look at this guy, and of course he's exactly what you would expect, just like gangly and like, you gotta get this done, brother. But his power grew then day by day, and my own influence waned, till in the 5th month, his mind, quite gone now, decreed that the sea god would accept no sacrifice, save for his niece, Rachala. So he's reached a point. It's like, no, you know what? These other girls aren't going to cut it anymore. It has to be her.
It's got to be royalty. We got to give her up, and
that's when they decide to flee. Which don't blame them at all.
Yeah, it's amazing that so many people like that rise to power because they convince people who are weak-minded to believe such bullshit.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Yeah. People who
um,
just listen to any asshole. Well,
yeah,
it's no different today that people listen to jerk offs on the internet. Just,
yeah,
I
It's
say this, so therefore it's got to be true. People
it's
just,
it's it's very fitting for today. That's for sure. But we come back from the flashback. We're back to them in the tent. So it's basically saying like, I want to go back. We have to take it back. We have to make things right. I want you to go with this and help. In case there are others who would try to fill his shoes, but if you're afraid, well, I'll not impose on you. And Conan's like, afraid? Come on now. He's like, where are my clothes? Let's go.
yeah. Conan's ready for action. Like, even not being told the full story, like what the hell is what they're sacrificing these girls to. Like, Conan's not afraid. He's not asking questions. Like,
And not only, yeah, and not only that, it's like he's already thinking, well, you helped me. Yeah, of course I'll gladly.
He's all about returning kindness to anybody. If he tells you, makes a promise, he will honor that promise. Like, again, there's so many great things to Conan that, again, that's just it's. I'm glad we're doing this because no one else is celebrating Conan.
So a few nights later, they show up. I'm kind of liking how Conan's decked out here.
Oh yeah, dude.
But the moon is full once again, and there's no maiden's shadow on the rocks yonder. So, well, the messenger spoke the truth, but perhaps at any rate, we'll soon see. So move on, and then we get.
It's an ambush.
Yeah, it's a trap. So we get a nice little scrum going on here.
And Conan's knocked out cold.
Yeah, knocked out, and then he's tied up to this pole, which I'm just like, we'll see how this lasts. But in regards to that, Ben is also tied up, and she is taken, and she is now put on the rocks for sacrifice.
Yeah,
poor Rachala, man.
Where she's at, and her uncle's like, she's out there, and you can just hear the sounds of the waves like crashing up behind her, and she's just.
And you can see too, just the moon's full, so it's got that good moonlight vibe to it.
The shadow work on her,
pretty light.
You see tears in her eyes there, and
it's either like it's either a tear right there, or maybe it's just like a printing blot. But let's just assume that
I call it a tear because she's conveying so much emotion and sadness right there and fear.
Yeah,
and then Jerkoff is playing the harp to lure the creature to appease the god.
Yep. Old Ghoul. We'll call him Ghoul, but it looks like Ghoul. It's more pronounced Ghoul.
Azalel.
Yeah, Azalel. He's his is a macabre melody, a litany of doom, played to a hungering sea.
You can hear the sounds of the ocean and the wind blowing. As this, and to note, this creature's in the ocean. This isn't like a big lake or a river. Like, no, this isn't the fucking ocean, man. Like, this has got, and this right here haunts the shit out of me. This panel of Conan up there and sees the large shadow of this massive alligator, which it's drawn like an alligator, but they refer to as a crocodile. Right. And that happens a lot in these Conan books because the crocs tend to exist in that part of the world, like in Asia and Egypt, and and kind of in that hemisphere, and they're often. I mean, I know the difference between a croc and an alligator.
Well, that's the thing. Is like vast majority of people don't really know.
Don't care.
It kind of doesn't matter. So you can it's tomato in that regard.
But it's still just like seeing how big the shadow of the croc is approaching, how small the girl is on the rock, and Conan just helpless in that moment. Oh my God, that's what's coming to get her.
Not for long though. Not for long though. He's not helpless for long.
I mean, cue the He-Man theme, man, because here we go.
Yeah, so he just pulls it out of the ground.
He just uproots it out of the ground and just starts taking out guys left and right with the rear end of the pole.
Yep, and then just throws himself into like the walls so he can break himself away from it. It's very smartly done. It's like you said, survivalist. He knows what he needs to do in these situations to get out of them.
I mean, that brain, like, it's a firestorm of like, I got to do it. Got to go.
And then he just
still being, more people in the fucking way, and
he just hurls his body towards them
fuck all these guys, man,
like a bowling ball. He just knocks them all over, knocks them all down. grabs a sword. I don't know, is it his sword or just
it's someone. I'm sure it's one of the guys swords there. Yeah.
And then just
charges out through the ocean, just stalking through there and swims out to that rock.
Sword in mouth, too, by the way.
Yeah, like in this epic as fuck, dude.
Yeah, it's badass. So he gets there. She's saying it's too late, and he's like, "Come on."
And she just says, "Too late, too late," and you can just hear the water, and then wham, here it comes, bursting right out of the ocean, dude. Like, yeah, this is a fucking monster, man. Like, oh god, just the stance of Conan, like in shock and awe, and she's getting the fuck out of there.
Yeah, she's diving back into the water, but yep, the sea god has appeared.
Yeah,
yep,
and Conan is right, like fuck you, and just goes right at it here, man. Like plunges his sword into the fucking mouth and then takes off. Like that's oh my god,
yeah, it's badass. So you can see him recoiling back. You can hear the noise. Conan dives in the water, and then here we are. Like he's running towards everyone, and then they're seeing him coming, and then the monster's like, "All right, here we go."
Just seeing this juggernaut of an alligator like coming on shore out of the ocean.
Yeah.
And then coming up on shore like that, and like, kind of coiling around to like, all right, I got food. Look at all this food. And they're everyone panics. Like there's no one's protected now. Like they're all fucked.
Yep. It is no god but a monster. Forward, slay it. So then
it comes bursting through the city gates, and it's just devouring anybody in its path here. So you will get a little bit of blood here. You
a little, yeah. Enough to get the job done.
Yeah. And it does, because this guy could just wolf down person after person. If you thought the movie Alligator,
dude,
this has got nothing on this alligator.
I know, but like in reading this, I was like, I don't want to watch Alligator again.
Fuck yeah, dude!
Because it's been, I think at this point now, it's probably been close to 2 years since I last watched Alligator, but. Spears and swords and hastily seized staffs are scant defense indeed from a sea spawn juggernaut. So just like beautifully written.
Oh, it's just epic, dude. I mean, just hearing people dying left and right, and then Conan goes right for the harp.
Yeah, and he's like, "All right, well, I'll just play something." The
music. Clearly, this thing is drawn to this harp, so let me draw it out of the city here.
Yeah, music once more, not melodic, haunting strains this time, but discordant notes, harsh, strident. So just the way that it's described, the panic on his face, just doing anything that he can.
Yeah, Conan's not gonna sit there and play it lightly. Like he's just almost like he's going for a guitar motif. Just like
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, it's just doing anything you can to try to distract the creature away from
draw it away from the people. Like these people that were Conan's enemy. Like Conan's just no, we got to get this thing away from everybody here.
Yep, and then it says, whether it is the siren call of the ill-played lyre or merely the sheer noise of it, which makes the Leviathan's head turn, is a question for gods, not men. But turn it does. So
absolutely,
it did work.
And at just least the girth of this alligator, it's just, I tell you, man, like
it really looks like a Komodo dragon.
At times, it does. It
does. Yeah.
And just seeing this behemoth like just lumbering behind Conan through these city streets, and the people they're coming together, like they're not fucking around. Like we got a big fucking net, throw it on it.
Yeah, but it's only meant to imprison fish, not taloned dragons.
And it just is crushing people, and because everyone's coming together to try and take this thing out, and it's just.
See, I'm gonna kind of more buy in with them labeling dragon. I'm kind of getting more Komodo dragon,
and that's kind of what they refer to them as. They really they call them like river dragons and like further issues. Yeah, which is very appropriate for for where they show up.
Yeah, it's sort of like a bastard combination of like all three: crocodile, alligator, Komodo dragon.
Yeah, and it's they call them crocs, but it looks like alligator, but you call them a dragon, and it makes sense too, because in this era, in this time, you just feel like, they would call, this creature, it looks like a dragon, so in their eyes, at least.
Yeah. And Conan decides, all right, let's try to go in some of these buildings. That
and it just smashes right through there.
It doesn't work out too well.
God, and just the look, like seeing moments where Conan is genuinely frightened. Like this thing is right on his ass, man. Like he's right there within. I mean that mouth, just like Jaws trying to get Quint before he falls into his mouth. Like just those jaws just snapping right at Conan. Ugh.
Yep. So he huddles in a fireplace, and then he has an idea. So we'll see if this plans out. Then unexpectedly, a new human voice is heard above.
Shit decides to change up the game plan here.
Yep, and he's along the way, I guess. Like he grabbed her and it's like, nope, you're coming with me. And now he's gonna kind of dangle her for the bait. It's like, oh, here you go, take her.
Oh God.
Yeah, and he says you'll not be cheated of your sacrifice because I've served the Dark Lord, and he served me.
These guys think they'll be rewarded by doing this kind of shit, and just watch now. Try to envision this happening in real time. This monster like starting to scale the wall to snap. I mean, if you watch footage of an alligator leaping out of the water to get something, you know, granted they don't have the water to kind of propel like with the tail, but still the size and the height, you know, it's like, oh my God, like you could just so visualize like seeing a reality of this done tastefully, not with an abundance of shitty CGI, but
you see the sword still stuck in the face.
Yeah,
too,
that attention to detail that Conan's sword from the beginning of this fight is still wedged in his snout.
This is when he takes fire from the fireplace.
Yeah,
and brings it with him to kind of like wave in front of the beast, which that's very smartly done.
And then the uncle decides to get out on the action here. He's not going to stand by and watch this shit anymore, and comes in, you know, sword swinging on his mighty steed there, and everyone else is coming in trying to, you know, spear the alligator across.
Yeah, and I like how Conan says here, your uncle's grown hair on his chest.
Yeah.
It's a good way to say, like, yeah, he finally
grown some balls.
Yeah, he finally manned up this time, and he's not going to be a coward.
No. Conan's got her in tow, and I just love, like, all right, I gotta do something else here, and just seeing him is like just grabbing whatever's around him, just tearing out of the ground.
Yeah,
it makes me think of the movie Rogue, where he's got this jagged, you know, large piece of wood here, and just ready to you know, he's gonna impale it somehow with use it. If he has to give up his life, so be it. But
I haven't watched that movie in a long time either. Does that still hold up, or have you watched it recently yourself?
It's been several years since I've watched it, but you know, of course, knowing that a dog gets eaten in the movie is not something you know, it was a very well done Alec Croc movie, because there's not many that are like really good. They're usually dog shit, but
yeah, I
remember that being pretty fucking good. And Sam Worthington, him and his shitty acting, he gets eaten in it too. So.
But Conan, as the dragon approaches, plops it down in the ground and just lets force take over. It penetrates him right center under the, like in the chest, under the neck area. And then I love this part. So its cry now of pain is now one of pain as much as anger. So it's a thrashing, but forgets its human prey, because obviously it's hurt.
It's focused on the pain there. And then Ghoul comes up behind with a battle axe, and Conan is warned by fuck.
Yeah, we're kind of Rachala.
Rachala, yeah.
I almost wanted to say Rochelle, and I'm like, that's yeah, but Rachala says, Conan behind you. So he catches it at the right time. This is when he fucking picks him up, throws him.
Shit.
Yep, throws him, and then this is when
he gets caught in the net that's still wrapped around, you know, the sea dragon.
Yep, and then the beast is gonna turn tail and head back to the ocean with Ghoul still attached to him. So.
Which, when I first read this, I was just hoping it was going to be implied that he gets eaten. Now, chances are, if you read the Jaws novel, like Quint gets pulled down when he's battling Jaws and either drowns or is bitten in half or eaten alive.
Yeah.
This guy probably, the way he's dangling at, moving around the water, the croc would probably see this food kind of hanging around his mouth and probably keep snapping it until
he'll get to him eventually.
Yeah. Even if he drowns, he will get eaten. So
yeah. But I love how it's depicted here. The man's cries are loud, and only the dragon itself seems to not hear them.
Yeah.
As it drags its mortally wounded carcass back into the sea that spawned it, and from which it will never return. After a time, the priest's cries are heard no more. And then this is when we get a very good twist. Gone is his ambition called for dragons, and they killed him. No, it was not ambition, but madness plagued him so. You keep calling him that, you keep calling him that, you who fled his ambition. Why? Asked Rachala. Well, my uncle is no coward. He fled because Gol Azalel had gone mad, and because he could not bring himself to slay his own brother, my father. And I was like, oh shit, they were related. Oh
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the guy wanted to sacrifice his own fucking daughter to this fucking croc. Out of his fucking mind, man. And then Conan's just there to caress her. He'll probably take her to bed that night. Because he does every girl. I swear to God, like you read most of the Conan books, he's either thinking about it or he's going to do it or he's already done it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, of course, he definitely will. But we don't get to see any of that. And then here's just some of the Stanley soapbox stuff.
Introduction of Dracula's daughter, Lilith, down there at the bottom there.
Yep. Lurks in the pages of Giant-Sized Chillers, #1.
There's a beautiful cover that Earl Norm did with, I may be wrong about her being her introduction, but I forgot. It's a beautiful cover. It's a Dracula magazine, but she's on the cover with a castle behind her in the clouds and these bats around her, and it's one of the most breathtaking like Marvel covers I've ever seen in my life. It's just like there's a story. I want to see Cap, Spider-Man, and Wolverine and Blade like infiltrate this castle, you know, on this among the clouds and take on this crazy vampire bitch.
Only 35 cents, man. Fuck.
God, dude.
But if
back then, probably if you and I were kids back then, that probably would have been an allowance.
Yeah. But also at the same time, I feel like it would have been all over this stuff. But if you at home want to take the time, I'll kind of slowly scroll through this. If you want to pause for yourself along the way as you're watching this and kind of read everything, or I can kind of like back it up here and you can get your magnifying glass out, pause it, take a look at that. But yeah, 35 cents is kind of nuts. And then we have here the big 3 official Marvel solid bronze collector medallion coins, which I mean, those are kind of cool. I like
those. Are fucking awesome. They're amazing.
Use a coupon to order today. Coins not included with holders. You can even buy holders for them, man. Check that shit.
Or wear them as a medallion around your neck, like to have a Conan like coin around your neck, like that. Fucking kick ass, dude.
Only $2.50.
God, and then the holders $2, the keychains $1.25, like a bolo tie.
Yeah, the fucking bolo tie right there, man.
Yeah, showing up to like a prom or something like that.
A school dance wearing your Conan the Barbarian medallion on a bolo tie.
That's easy, honey. You're with the Sumerian tonight. I'm gonna take you after the dance too.
Yeah. So now we get Savage Tales featuring Conan, and then you have Crazy Magazine. So
it's like a black exploitation magazine almost.
Yeah. So collect them all. That's what we have there. I'm kind of curious though. Now I think about it, some of these got to be up on eBay, right?
I would like to think so. Yeah.
Let's look it up real quick.
Whether they're really expensive or just like they can't give them away.
Well, I mean, since it was a mail away, like I'm sure
it would make them very rare. I would assume. You know.
Let's see if we pick up anything here on the. Oh yeah! Oh my God!
How much?
Expensive.
We're talking over $1,000.
No, not that high, but still very expensive. There's a listing here for $215, $185, $126, $150.
Okay, that's within reason for something that old.
Yeah.
That was a mail away too.
Man, I'm gonna have to like anytime now that I see at antique shops or flea markets.
You gotta look for these coins, dude.
I gotta look for these medallions.
You pay like $1 for it or something like that. Be my luck.
I'll keep an eye out for these though.
Yeah,
If
I
I
mean,
come up,
Spider-Man and Conan, I would love to have in particular. I just
yeah, leave us a comment down below and let us know
if you have one and you don't want it anymore, let us know.
yeah, or if you had one as a kid and
Yeah.
begged your parents to, hey, we got to clip this out and send the 250 and with postage. Oh man! If ordering 3 coins, subtract 50 cents from grand total. Then Michigan residents, you got to add 4% sales tax.
Yeah, because they got it out against Michigan, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, imagine how many lawns you had to mow to get those coins, dude.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye out for those. Those coins. That'll be fun. But that was issue 39. Fantastic stuff. I really enjoyed that quite a bit.
I'm so glad you did, man. I'm just so glad you were like, let's talk some Conan. Like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm all over it.
Yeah, because it's something that I always say, much like so many other things. I need to watch this. I need to read this. I actually have, I think, 3 or 4 volumes of those trade paperbacks they were starting to put out from this.
Oh yeah.
And I think I opened the first one and read probably 2 or 3 issues, and I haven't gone back to it since because I'm just terrible at that. Because it's one of those things where they're down in the comic room in the basement, so it's out of sight, out of mind kind of deal. Yeah. But it's something I always want to dig more into it. So I'm glad that we got to cover that tonight. And definitely in the future, as I said before we started diving into this issue, I think we should tackle one of those 2-parters. There's a multi-issue ones.
Yeah.
And
go with I started to throw, like I said, one of the issues I had in particular was one issue of a 2-parter that starts out really strong, and it starts off like, okay, this it's like a by the numbers solid Conan story, and then it gets grander and grander and grander, and you're like, holy shit, this is like, I mean, we are going deep in fantasy realm with this, and it's the first part is so good, and then the second part, like, the artist is different, and the story is just, I don't know, you kind of feel like it ends with like a it starts off so fucking strong, and I just like, and it's got a fun cover and some great battles in it, and you're like, oh man, I want Conan to get with this hot chick too, and it's just like, oh man, it doesn't in the way you want it to. It's a very lackluster second part. I'll just put it that way. The first part's so fucking strong, and I almost started just like, just read this one. And just say, you like, maybe you want to read the second part after this, but you're like, it's just not, and not to say that, if John's drawing, it's guaranteed to be great, because I've read some clunkers where he's drawn and it's not his fault. It's just a shitty story. Yeah. But for the most part, it helps sell if he's drawing it, and that first part is drawn by him, and you're like, oh my god, and then the second part's drawn by somebody else, and he redraws everything that you see in the first issue. Like, that's not how they looked in the first part. What are you doing?
That sucks. It's kind of, that sucks. It's sort of like the just kind of backing over and redoing the stuff, sort of like Evil Dead 2 doing.
They're Dead 1. Pretty much like, bringing you up to speed on what's going on here. But it's like, no, none of this stuff is drawn this way. You're like, fuck, man, like, and then like, okay, we'll just charge through it. Maybe it'll have maybe where you're wanting to go, it will happen. Like, no,
that's not it.
No.
Well, that was issue 39. So I hope everyone enjoyed that aspect. We'll go ahead, roll a couple of commercials, and then we'll come back and have a little bit of extracurricular conversation. So we'll see you here in about 90 seconds.
The Converse weapon, that's to shoot, that's magic, do what he was born to do.
It may be so, but that's not all. They let Isaiah play like he's 10 feet tall.
For the kind of moves that never fail, the weapon's the choice of Kevin McHale.
The same is true for Mark McGuire. When I wear weapons, I'm on fire. Well, what can the weapons do for King? Well, I can do just about anything.
You already know what you did for me.
What?
I walked away with the MVP.
The Converse weapon, the #1 weapon in the NBA.
Galaxy's most radical rabbit. Fearless, resourceful, heroic. But can even the brave Bucky O'Hare and his courageous crew save the universe from Toad overload? No fly-sucking, slimy, croaking piece of sludge toad has taken over my planet.
Hop on board with Bucky and the crew of the Righteous Indignation for totally hair-raising adventures beyond the stars. Every Sunday on Bucky O'Hare and the Toad Wars.
Sunday morning at 10:30 on Fox 29.
He was created out of violence and horror. He exists only to destroy the evil around him. He can't be reasoned with or bargained with. He can't be stopped. So if you've been bad, look out. He's your worst nightmare come true, the Toxic Avenger. If you've been bad, he'll get you good. Rated R, under 17, not admitted without...
Starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
And we're back. Tyler, there's a show that I've only watched 2 episodes of this, but I want to watch more. And I think I've seen stuff on it. Well, not so much seen trailers and stuff, but I've just seen thumbnails pop up on probably Amazon and HBO Max along the way. And I've never looked into it, but I decided randomly last night or the night before, I'm just going to check this out and watch a couple episodes. And I'm sure you've probably heard of it. Maybe you haven't, but it's called Primal. And it's from the creator, and it's the same sort of animation style as Dexter's Laboratory, Samurai Jack, Star Wars.
Okay,
Clone
no, I've
Wars.
never heard of this.
Oh, all right. So it's basically just like it's in the dinosaur age.
Okay.
And it's I'll just read you the
Is
synopsis.
it on HBO Max?
Yeah. I'll read you the synopsis here so you can kind of get an idea. At the dawn of evolution, a caveman and a dinosaur on the brink of extinction bond over. They bond and become each other's only hope of survival in a treacherous world. So animation wise, it's very much if you're thinking like Samurai Jack kind of stuff.
Okay.
There's in the first couple episodes, maybe as the show goes along, there will be more, but the only noises are just roars and growls and stuff. There's no actual dialogue. So you're just watching the shit on and it's give the first episode a watch. I would be really curious to see what you think.
With Jandy Tartakovsky, I mean,
yeah, I didn't want to butcher his name, so I just said, "Hey, the creator behind this."
Yeah, so I'm familiar with his work, and my brother was a big Samurai Jack fan back in the day, and he adored that show. So I'll get it done this weekend.
All right. If anything, just watch that first episode. I intend on watching more. And from what I've read, because I think season 3 just premiered not long ago, there's only 10 episodes per season. But from what I read, the story arc between these two characters only lasts those first 2 seasons. So season 3 is going to start out, and he even said he wants to just make this more of like an anthology thing going forward. And I'm like, that's a smart idea because you're not running this too thin.
Yeah.
It's like, let this end right here and then move on to another story that you want to tell. So I might watch some more of that tonight because those first 2 episodes, especially that first one, I don't want to spoil anything for you. But with me going into it as cold as I did, I was like, fuck, all right, I'm in. So watch that. Let me know what you think. In terms of other stuff that I might watch this weekend, I guess it's it's mostly Tom's fault. I'm going to blame Tom. I've always been kind of intrigued by it, and I've never watched any of them. And one of them is because the release was on Vinegar Syndrome. And at one point, I had it in my cart, and I didn't buy it. And now it's sold out, and I bought a copy on eBay. But the Santo films, the Luchador, where it's like Santo versus Dracula, Santo versus these monsters. All right, so it's basically just like the famed masked luchador Santo. Like there's other stories where it's like him and Blue Demon, and then like there's some this Blue Demon and Mil Mascaras are teaming up to do some stuff. So I got Santo versus Dr. Death, which is kind of more Santo being like James Bond. So a good chunk of the movies around and prior to that had more to do with like monsters and sci-fi stuff. So Santo versus Dr. Death is more like him being like James Bond. And then the one that kind of got the ball rolling is Tom sent me a clip from the this movie, The Champions of Justice. So Blue Demon is the main character in this one, and Il Mascaris is in there. But there's also a couple other masked luchadors, so they're kind of like this gang of heroes. And I'll read you the synopsis to this. Blue Demon and pals square off against the Black Hand's army of superpowered midgets. Their words, not mine. 5 luchadors, Blue Demon, Mil Mascaris, El Medico, Asano, La Sombra, and I can't pronounce this.
Is Mil wearing his mask the entire time?
Yeah, they're all wearing the mask. So they face off against a mad scientist and his army of powerful wrestling midgets. Once again, their words, not mine. And it's just stupid, goofy, fun. It had that one in particular has like a jazz soundtrack that I almost felt like they were playing the same track over and over again. And granted, it does kind of reach a point where it's like, all right, I get it, and it almost overstays its welcome, but it's just dumb enough that it's enjoyable. And then I watched Santo and Blue Demon against the Monsters. So we have Wolfman, Frankenstein, a vampire, a mummy, and a Cyclops.
Oh, the Monster Squad.
And the Cyclops costume looks about as shitty as you think that it would from a Spanish
I can only
film.
imagine what that piece of shit must look like.
Featuring luchadors that came out in 1970. So I watched those. They didn't blow me away, but they were entertaining for what they were. But Santo versus Dr. Death, from a lot of people that I see on Letterboxd, kind of hold that one a little bit above it because it's like we're taking the concept now. He's like James Bond. But then I also purchased, let me find the title for it because I also don't want to butcher that either. It's Santo versus the Riders of Terror, and that's basically just Santo in a Western setting. So I was like, yeah, all right, I'll put Santo in a Western. Let's. I want to see how that goes. So I bought those two. The biggest hurdle with most of that now is in terms of Blu-ray. Vinegar Syndrome put out that Dr. Death one. The company that put out the Terror Riders escapes me, but they put out a couple of the two other Santo movies that were like the first two in the series, which a lot of people don't think those are that great, other than it's showing kind of like the era of time where they were filmed wasn't completely like changed and fucked up yet. The biggest problem with the other movies is I think VCI put out a Blu-ray that has 8 Santo movies on them, and a lot of those are against Dracula and this monster or whatever. Those are all dubbed, and I don't want to watch English dubbed versions of these movies. I would much rather. I mean, it probably makes them funnier.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So maybe I should go in that direction, but I kind of prefer the native Spanish language with English subtitles. So I'll just have to wait around, I guess. Some of them you can find on YouTube. Some of them are just uploaded in Spanish but don't have English subtitles. I'm like, I guess I could put that on and just kind of have no idea what's going on and just let the visuals speak for itself. But yeah, kind of dug into.
I'm sure that most of the stories lack any kind of
oh, absolutely, because there is
the continuity, cohesion at all.
Well, there is the episode, was it Santo versus the Vampire Women that Mystery Science Theater did?
They covered one of those? I feel like I've recognized that title.
Yeah, let me see what season.
I don't know if that was a Mike or a Joel episode or not.
It was season 6, so it would have been Mike.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's before they went to the Sci-Fi Channel, though.
Samson versus the Vampire Women is what it's called.
Okay. All right. I feel like I recognize that title, but I've not watched it.
So maybe that one's not. Wait, no, yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it is a Santo film. Pretty sure it is. But yeah, I'm like, I want to watch them dubbed. Like I said, it probably makes it funnier, but I don't know. It's just something about that. So that's kind of what I watched.
Tom's sales pitch to you on these movies, like
he just sent me the clip, and like the clip from the Champions of Justice is towards the end of the movie, and it's just like this big wide shot at first, where it's just like all these guys fighting the evil, powerful midgets, and you just hear that punch noise, and And I sent him back. I was like, yeah, this is very kind of like Batman 60s series-esque, but just like on a cheaper scale.
Yeah.
And yeah, because he'll do that. He'll just send me clips of like bad movies. And I'm just like, that seems interesting. But aside from watching those, I've only really checked out I watched the Incredibly Strange Creatures Who Stopped Living and Became Mixed Up Zombies episode of Mystery Science Theater. And
one bad fever dream, that's all.
Yeah, it's like I told you, it's like the movie itself was weird, and then I felt that the riffs in the episode weren't as strong at all compared to a lot of the really, really good ones.
I enjoyed a lot of the riffs. I wouldn't put it like, it's not up there with like Space Mutiny and Girl in Gold Boots, Time Chasers, Overdrawn at the Memory Bank, Final Justice, and so on and so forth. But it's still an enjoyable one because it is this is such a fucking weird movie, like just odd. But it's not one I go back and revisit a ton. But I have revisited that one multiple times though. I'll just say that, nipples too dark and upsetting.
But then I also watched Track of the Moon Beast, and the riffs on that are
lunch at my kid's school.
The riffs on that are infinitely better. Once again, Tyler showing, and just all of those really stuck with him. I think I could probably watch that episode 4 or 5 times, and he would hit me with a riff from that.
Oh, I could sit there and tell you the joke as it happens or before, like whichever you prefer, man. Like,
yeah.
There's a line that because I always say Nathan sounds like Mike Nelson and Tracking the Moon Beast when the meteor comes by and hits Paul in the head, and she's sitting there taking it. And he goes, you don't have to scrub it. Mike says it. I just laugh so hard. It sounds just like Nathan.
Yeah, Mike and I have that same deadpan ass, like don't give a shit tone to us that I have sometimes. That I don't use as much when we're doing the show.
It's like that's Mike Nelson.
Yeah, I try not to do that kind of thing when we're doing a show, but it comes out sometimes.
It's only like normally it's just when you and I are just kind of doing something on our own, and you're like yeah, those aren't worth dick. You're just the deadpan kind of comes out when you're being sincere. It's not like you're trying to be deadpan. It just comes like
honestly, that's just kind of more of just my normal talking voice is just not putting as much effort into it.
Yeah,
I'm trying to be like like this is just a notch above when I'm doing the show. It's like when we go out there, she tells me all the time that my tone. Sometimes I'll either sound like I'm mad when I'm not, or I'm like, no, like I'm not mad. It's just the way I talk sometimes, I guess. I don't know.
Do you care? No, it's just how I talk.
Yeah, but that's
no, I want you to buy me an orange Chili's.
That's one of my favorite parts from Time Chasers. Oh man. Yeah, it just makes I need to watch some more Mystery Science Theater. And it's great now that so many of those are uploaded on their YouTube channel.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, it's nice to have them because God, back in the day, man, remember I downloaded all the sci-fi episodes and just like I think I would burn some of those just on a disc.
You only burn like a and I still have them.
Yeah.
I remember buying a bootleg off of eBay one time, I think, of The Final Sacrifice, just because I was like, I have to have this. And then you made a copy of it for me along with Invasion of the Neptune Men. I think you did Final Justice. I got the hard copy of.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think of the ones that I didn't have hard copies of.
And this was kind of prior.
Giant Spider Invasion was another one you did for me.
And this was prior to Shout getting the license and really started, because those first early sets were put out by Rhino. So then when Shout Factory gets it, and then they really start churning more of them out. But this is that in between phase right there, where there were only, I think at that point, there may have only been like 6 or 7 volumes out that Rhino.
There wasn't many, and it was a mixed bag because it was Joel episodes and Mike episodes, and there might be just one from the sci-fi years, which that's my bread and butter. Like I'm all about the sci-fi years.
Yeah, I think after watching more of it, I'm inclined to agree. I think I even said that before a couple episodes back when we were talking again about Mystery Science Theaters. Yeah. I prefer Mike, and I like the later seasons because I think just the choice of movies is stronger too. In that
I do
regard.
too, and their jokes, and because there's been a couple that like I think of like Hamlet, which was on that first Rhino release, and I remember not liking it at all, but out of like desperation to watch more, I would go back and try it again. Like, oh my god, like this is so much better than I realized. That and along with Invasion of the Neptune, man, you think it's this really shitty black and white movie, and the jokes aren't landing, but no, it's but when you're automatically you're digging Girl in Gold Boots, Overdrawn to Memory Bank, and Space Mutiny. Those are like the cream of the crop.
Yeah,
you're just like, this is not packing the same punch. Like, no, it is packing the same punch. You just
Overdrawn at the Memory Bank, man. A young Raul Julia.
Yeah, right here, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there we go. It's like poetry, so
it rhymes there, and yeah, just seeing him in that, and all they're making jokes about him being Gomez and just, oh my god, it just I love watching because it is Raul Julia in this real shitty PBS movie, and it's almost like it's a version of Total Recall, Girl in Gold. I mean, Overdrawn to Memory Bank. That's what I think about when I watch it.
What is The Touch of Satan? That one's.
Oh, that's another one I think of you when of that one too, because I could see Nathan playing the guy in the movie when you had really short hair,
which I've talked about before. Like I think I'm inching closer to that point where I'm just like it's time to like make this not like short, but like short enough.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, if you haven't watched Touch of Satan in a while, you need to go back and watch that.
Yeah, that's one that I mean, Girl in Gold Boots is another one I need to go back, and it's been so long since I've watched that one too, because I find myself more often than not it's Space Mutiny, Time Chasers, and Final Sacrifice are like the three that I feel like I always keep wanting to come back to more and more. So yeah, I need to revisit a lot of those ones that really kind of got me into it. And once again, that's all thanks to him. He brought that DVD set, like volume 4, I think, that had like Space Mutiny.
I guess I just saw it as what I thought was the first Rhino release, because I remember seeing it advertised when the Sci-Fi Channel was still running the reruns of the last 3 seasons. And that had Space Mutiny, Overdrawn, Girl in Gold Boots, and Hamlin on it.
Yep, there it is, volume 4.
Yeah, and I still own that, because I'm like, even though I can watch them on YouTube, I'm like, I'm never getting rid of those hard copies of those.
I do too, because that was the one I went out and bought, because you would show that to me, and I loved it. I'm like, I got to get this volume. And I think eventually I came across it at a Best Buy. I'm like, I got to pick this up, because hey, remember, this was back when Best Buy had all of those rows. They were separated by genre, and they had so much to choose from.
It was wonderful. It was a modern Toys R Us for us.
It kind of was, really, when you think about it, for us in that time period, and really getting into buying movies. That was our modern day Toys R Us.
We weren't buying action figures or comics. We're buying movies, or all 3 in the same day.
Because at that point too, our action figure buying was there, but we weren't so much going to Toys R Us, because I felt like every time we went into Toys R Us, we wouldn't find anything.
Yeah, because I think by that point we're talking, this is like mid 2000s. The He-Man toy line was no longer going. The Turtles line wasn't going. G.I. Joe had been canceled. I think mainly Marvel Legends and maybe some DC stuff from time to time. It was kind of the
it was Marvel Legends, the DC stuff that I felt like if you wanted to get the good shit, it was mostly like those Hush figures and stuff that you would find at the
Extremes in Roanoke, the comic shop
and Software, etc. Like the game stores kind of carried those. So it was that stuff, and then
Movie Maniacs and things like NECA figures.
That's what I was about to mention. All the NECA shit that we were going to Spencer's to buy, and like it's like EB and Software, etc. They weren't all GameStops yet. So yeah, that was like our big
electronics boutique. Yeah.
So it was all the McFarlane stuff from back then, which I showed this off. It's like, because I'm a Sharks fan, so that McFarlane came out with some hockey mascots. I'm like, I gotta get that.
Oh yeah, of course.
I did unbox the Daredevil. I got to take his hands and stuff, figure out how I want to pose them and set them on the desk. But I did. It fucking took forever. Remember, I showed you all that shit. I was like, I hate this stuff.
Yes.
So I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to be patient with it. because they're all fucking twisted up, and you go to untwist them, and then of course they get connected, and all this is under here, and I'm like, this thing shouldn't be like a transformer, man. So I got a few of those done that way, but some of them were wound so tight that it didn't really want to go around. So I'm like, okay, I get a pair of scissors in between there. I'm starting to like cut, but the shit's too thick and the scissors aren't strong enough. So I'm like, all right. So I went and got a box cutter, put the blade up all the way, and I pin it down there, put my one hand on here, and I'm just like sawing the shit out of here. I'm like, do not miss that packaging at all. So
No.
Don't buy you an 18-inch NECA figure still in package if you don't want to have to deal with that stuff.
Whether it's Turtles or Batman, I'm glad we got them, but boy,
Yeah.
it's you got to devote an evening to doing it, to get it removed and all the little extra hands and pieces and accessories. Like, fuck,
yeah,
I don't need so many damn options.
Yeah, it's pretty much the shitter. Man, yeah, just getting me thinking, talking Mr. Science Theater and those DVD sets. Just going into that bigger Best Buy specifically, and just walking each aisle and just looking at we'd be in there for a couple hours. We're just taking our time looking around. I'm grabbing a big stack because I'm ready to spend some money. And I've mentioned this time and time again. U-turns in there, and I'm not going to buy it.
Yep.
but just think about that. We would go in there with the intentions like, yeah, I'm going to spend over $100. Will I? We'll see. But the intention was, I'm going to spend some money today when I walk in.
And Nathan would walk out and it was like, hey, Mom, Dad, I need this down here. Go pick it up for me. So Nathan goes back with all his money. I'm fucking broke. And
yeah. I got to wait till next paycheck. This is when we were like making nothing working at grocery stores.
Working at grocery stores. I'm getting paid every week, but it was just like, I got to have money for my pre-workout. I got to have money for,
gotta have money to go to the movies, because at that point
movies and buy comics. They're coming out on Wednesdays. And
well, I mean, like we were going to the theater. Like
we were going to the theater a lot,
almost every week.
Yeah.
Sometimes
you're going to see the same movie multiple times, or
double features
in the same day. We did that twice.
Yeah. Not
actually no, 3 times if we count the Grindhouse movie.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess that does count. Which that was fun seeing that on the big screen and getting the experience.
Yeah.
I've gone back and revisited that one a couple times over the years. I'm like, yeah, like I would have put Planet Terror last and put Death Proof first, because I get them hooked a little more. It's like, yeah, this movie's slower paced and not as much happens, and then leave them with the crowd pleaser with all the gore and stuff.
Yeah.
But Death Proof, I've garnered more of an appreciation for than I did back then. When
I thought it started stronger than it ended. I think having Stuntman Mike kind of turned into a bit of a wimp.
Yeah, but I mean,
it seems like such a jarring change for the character.
Hey, man, that's Grindhouse, baby. That's the way those movies went.
I had no problem with the girls getting, kicking his ass, but were he scared of the girls? Like, wait a second here, like,
yeah.
It should be, him being malicious up to the end, and he still gets his comeuppance. But when he starts off as so suave and malicious and vicious, like, okay, these girls are in for a hell of a ride here, trying to get away from this guy and beating him. And now he starts like screaming and almost like crying, like, I don't want to see Kurt Russell doing that.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's why I'm like, Quentin Tarantino, that's why I don't like your movies, man. Other than Kill Bill, like, your movies suck.
Which I'm very much looking forward to when Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair gets a release date, because it was in theaters for a little bit, and by the time I got
seeing that,
by the time I got some time off of work, it was out. I was like, damn it, you couldn't just wait another week so I could just go and pick a weekday and set because you think that's both movies together. It's like 4.5 hours. You have to dedicate
that. No.
So I'm very much looking forward to when that gets put out on disc. I'll definitely pick that up and check that out. But Tyler, is there anything you're looking to try to watch this weekend?
I'm going to watch Skyfall because that came in today. So I'm going to watch that over the weekend, because I'm trying to give or go back and dig into the Daniel Craig run of the Bond movies. Not Quantum of Solace, because I saw it in theaters twice and I bought it, and I just
that one is from all accounts, because I've only watched 3 of the 5. People, Quantum of Solace is the one that people are like, yeah, this is the worst. Well, most think that's the worst one.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, I just remember, like, I enjoyed it, but there were things that just, like, I don't know, I just didn't find it as enjoyable as Casino Royale.
Yeah.
And by the time Skyfall came out, I was out of patience waiting for a new Bond movie to come out, and I was like, I'm out. And
I was the same way. I ended up picking up Skyfall at a flea market on Blu-ray for, I think it was like $5, and that's how I watched it for the first time. And it hadn't been out too terribly long.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, yeah, $5, I'm in. I'll get this, and I enjoyed it from what I remember. But it's been so long, like I've forgotten most of it. But I need to jump back in, much like I told you. I think all the Bond films are on Netflix now too, because I did buy the Blu-ray set because I stopped at GoldenEye, so I want to finish off Brosnan and then jump into Daniel Craig. So hopefully you like it. Hopefully it's
yeah. Like I said, I just was in a Bond mood of like revisiting Casino Royale and enjoyed the fuck out of it. And Daniel Craig is Bond and the girls in it, and like I need to see how the rest of the series has gone. And I've heard nothing but praise about Skyfall, and I watched a couple of clips from it. Nothing that felt
spoiled anything. Yeah.
But it was just like, okay, I like the way this looks. The acting looks great in it. Great characters. And of course, the sequence where a Komodo dragon comes out and eats somebody is like, oh man, I'm all about this. Like I've already seen it, but it's like, you know what? you pulled me in when you have man-eating animals in your movie, like and it's taken seriously and done well.
Yeah,
it's like, holy shit, I wasn't expecting that in a Bond movie, So I was like, okay, well, I'm down. So it came in on 4K, so I'm gonna try and watch that tomorrow as well.
All right. So you watch Skyfall, check out Primal.
I will watch at least the first episode of Primal. I will watch Skyfall and try and do some work in here as well.
Yeah. Get that He-Man room situated.
Yeah, try and get more of this built up and looking more respectable.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. Make sure you like it. Leave a comment down below if you haven't done so already. Make sure you subscribe. And until later, we'll see you next issue.
There he goes, licking his nuts again.
Oh, God. So
Blow
bad.
It out your ass. There's another line from the same character.
Oh, They Live?
Yeah.
Buck
Flower.
Yeah, Buck Flower, baby. Yep. You and I got to check it out in theaters.
We did, man.
A while back.
Yeah. Much enjoyed experience.
Yeah. Love hearing John Carpenter soundtrack in a movie theater.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Can't beat it.
It's a very cozy movie. That's another movie you just want to turn the lights off and have it just
sit next to a fire and put They Live on.
I got a lot of movies that feel that way. Mr. Science Theater episodes I felt the same way about too. They're just insanely cozy.
Yeah,
They Live is an insanely cozy movie.
Therein lies the problem with that. If I get too comfortable on the couch having Mr. Science Theater episode on, I'm likely to doze off.
Well, I mean, that's fine. It's just something that, you just feel comfortable, and lounging clothes in your favorite chair with the lights off, maybe a small light on there, and just have this wonderful cozy ambiance and watching something you've seen a zillion times. But you know what? It's still just like
gives you the warm fuzzies.
It does, man. And
I guess that's probably the closest thing we will ever feel to the excitement that we had as kids waiting for Santa to come.
Yeah, that's why I feel that way about just certain movies and TV shows. I can put on, certain things, and I'm just like, yeah, this is about as cozy as life can get right now, man. I mean, it's just I don't use blankets, but the analogy of saying it's like a familiar warm fuzzy blanket you had as a kid, or your favorite blanket to snuggle up with when you're just kind of wanting to be, nobody bother me here. I got my Indian motif blanket I've had since teenage years or
With
some
the,
shit like that.
yeah, with the Chautauqua print all over.
Yeah. The Tonka's on the blanket there, but just something that is very familiar, always brings you comfort and joy. You're always at ease with it, and that's how I view a lot of especially old shows, because it just makes you reminisce about like what it would have been like to have watched this stuff when it was brand new, either on TV in the 70s and the 80s or on VHS for the first time in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Going home on a Saturday night and putting in They Live. Oh man, I saw some theaters, can't wait, watching on VHS, and just that sitting on those plaid colored couches, and the wood box TV, and
or just the couches that have like the cowboys and Indians prints on. It's like that brown, just all brown,
maybe some
brown and tan. Carpet. Yeah.
And maybe you're drinking Kool-Aid or something like that, or a soda of some kind. It would have to be like Tang or something. Tang or I didn't get to have Tang as much. My
Flavor Aid.
We didn't do flavor. We were pretty much Kool-Aid for the most part.
I mean, I was too, but I just think other people not getting the name brand shit too back in the day.
Yeah, which I'm as cheap as the stuff was, my mom was like, this stuff's cheap. We don't need to get,
Yeah, and you can clip the things
the points and get free ship.
Yeah, like I never did, but I did. I got a Kool-Aid Walkman.
I'd have been about that had I.
Yeah, and I was listening to the Ninja Turtles soundtrack. I guess it would have been the Dick Tracy soundtrack. How did they work with that? Because I don't know if it was the score. It had the Madonna songs on it too, and the cover was Madonna, like with someone that looked like Dick Tracy on the cover.
I thought it was actually Warren Beatty on the cover. I'm pretty sure it was. But his hat's tilted down, so because the focus is her, but he's in the car with her.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. So it's Madonna, I'm Breathless, music from and inspired by the film Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
So it's just all her though, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had that because my dad presented me with two options. We were in a Roses, we were in the electronics section, and I wanted to get a cassette. And he's like, all right, here's Madonna, the I'm Breathless Dick Tracy album, or here is the score for Batman '89. And I picked Madonna, Dick Tracy, because I was in love with Madonna at the time.
I can't argue it, dude.
But those were the two options.
But what a day to be spending in Roses when your dad gives you two options: the Dick Tracy soundtrack or the Batman '89 soundtrack. Man,
yeah. But it was just the Danny Elfman part. I'm not talking like the Prince.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Had I known that was available at that age, because all I ever saw was the Prince album, and I was not. Even then, I'm like, how come there's no actual like soundtrack? Because I didn't know a lot of movie soundtracks with the score were available that much. I was still learning about what was available, on cassette, for movies.
Same.
I just knew it to be like a series of random songs, whether they're in the movie or not, and that was kind of about it.
Yeah, that's exactly how I was. So
yeah. Movie scores, even though I loved listening to the movie, it never even occurred to me that you can buy this and listen to it.
Yeah. So that Kool-Aid cassette player, it's Ninja Turtles, the Madonna, and then MC Hammer. That was the three heavy rotation there in the very early 90s.
Hell, I had no idea there was even a soundtrack for Turtles. Like that Turtle Power would have been available at all, and not until I got Turtles 3, the soundtrack.
God, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit, man! It's a shame we weren't friends back then, because I would be like, dude, you gotta listen to this.
See, I as much as I love listening on VHS, I had no idea you could have that.
Yeah, just crank it up, start the album, and hear, this is what we do.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. I'd have been all about that, man.
I'm telling you, I think I almost wore that cassette tape out.
Now, I did play the shit out of the Turtles 3 soundtrack because I had no idea what Tarzan Boy was, that it was a song from the 80s. I thought it was brand new for the movie.
Wow.
So I was all about the song Tarzan Boy, and then on the other side, Turtle Power,
Yeah.
Yoshi's theme, and a song called Fighter that is so obscure, but my mom even thought that was a catchy ass song, and I have it on my workout list to listen
Oh
to because
boy,
it is a very
I'll
enjoyable,
have to
obscure song from the Turtles 3 soundtrack.
I'll have to look that up and listen to it because Turtles 3 is a movie I've only watched like 1 or 2 times.
Yeah, even as a kid, it was just we eventually bought it like dirt cheap somewhere, but we didn't watch it. Nothing like 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Well, there's our side discussion or epilogue.
Our epilogue
discussion.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.
Thanks for your time.